Let's get to the debate stuff. Winners and freaking losers. Well, so first of all, I don't know if you all know this. Tulsi was once again the most Googled candidate. That is 3 debates straight that this is the case. And this wasn't after the debate. This is almost consistently throughout the debate. In fact, she was also #1 trending on Twitter, and which was kind of weird because she hadn't even really said anything yet. I was kind of like, what the hell? Y'all already talking about the white? It's probably the white, to be honest with you. But in all seriousness. And the fact that her presence was missed. People had been saying the entire debate, last debate, that they wish Tulsi had been there. And I feel the same way about Marianne Williamson. I feel like her presence was missed. I feel like if you replaced Tom Steyer with her, it would have been a much more interesting debate overall. We would have had a lot more to talk about for sure. But she was trending on Twitter. Funny enough, of course, they somehow put like her name and then another, like I think Bernie and then Assad. They took the amount. You couldn't see the amount of tweets that were being sent out about Tulsi. Everybody else's you could see 15,000 here, 7,000 here, 20,000 here. At first you could see the amount of tweets that were being sent out about Tulsi. Then you just couldn't. You just couldn't anymore. So like they weren't happy about her trending, but she was trending nonetheless. Trending on Google, also a big ass deal. Once again, 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, it's no longer a fluke. It's no longer a fluke. Especially when you consider the fact that she was still the 4th most Googled candidate in the last debate. Or 5th most Googled candidate, I apologize. In the last debate, she was there. So, and she wasn't in the debate, in case you didn't know. So, she's already increased in followers on Twitter and all that good stuff. Same thing on Facebook. I'm going to be interested to see what the donation haul looks like. They did get a lot of press requests yesterday. However, this is from the campaign, by the way. They got a lot of press requests, but Tulsi was not necessarily inclined to acquiesce a lot of those requests because she's really just fed up with the media. And I think that showed a lot last time in the debate. So for Tulsi's campaign, huge win. Especially because Tulsi's campaign has already showed that when they get that spike in support from that debate night, it does turn over into tangible voters that continue to, tangible voters, but also tangible donations that eventually become reoccurring and will keep her campaign alive for the entire primary process. Like she said, she does in fact want to stay all the way to the convention. And the type of supporters she has are so hardcore, she'll do it. She'll do it. Like I said, she always catches one person slipping every debate, and we're gonna talk about that too. Bernie came out looking calm. Didn't look angry. He stayed on message. Didn't get into the nitty gritty. A lot of people are saying he won. I didn't feel like he won the debate. I didn't feel like that. And for different people have different definitions on who they believe won the debate. I feel like when you're already a top tier candidate, when your message has already resonated, when you've already got the donations, when you've achieved every fucking metric you can think of as far as showing that you are that guy, and Bernie has absolutely solidified himself as the guy to be, then I think your job is a little bit different when you're talking about just going out and clobbering everybody and saying, with me saying very clearly, you won the debate. Not saying that he didn't win for the campaign by his campaign standards. I think he played it smart, and I'm going to talk about that too. But he showed he was strong. He showed he was healthy. He showed he still has that fire. He showed he still has that fight. People were happy to see him. Once again, he called out Biden, which was kind of surprising. It was like not surprising that he called him out, but just to the degree that he called him out, I guess. Granted, Biden's once again an easy target. I wish he would have went after Biden earlier, but hey, take it when I can get it when it comes to Bernie and going after his friends. And that exchange was dope. His finishing remarks were dope. Weirdly enough, I don't feel like he went hard enough on Medicare for all. And I don't understand why, because And there might have been a strategy of throwing Warren to the wolves, because if you didn't notice, a lot of the debate, especially when Warren kept invoking Bernie's name, Bernie kind of left her out there. Like, hey, okay, you know what? You want my policy so bad? Cool, whatever. That's what you want. Now you defend them. You defend my policies since you know them so well. You defend my policies. How did that go for her? Didn't go well at all. And so from that perspective, Bernie kind of, like, you could say that he was successful, right? You could say he did a great job. He was very judicious. He was very judicious with how he went about speaking up and how he went about defending or not defending. Elizabeth Warren. He called out Joe Biden for the first time in a very dramatic way, and then he let Elizabeth Warren hang out to dry, which ultimately made who look good? Bernie. So maybe that was his plan all along, and if that was his plan all along, I may not can say that he won the debate, but he damn sure was successful at achieving that goal, because at the end of the day, the more Warren opened her mouth, I was just remind him, like, man, she is just not Bernie. We're going to lose it for Elizabeth Warren. Like, it's because that's the whole thing, right? It's the whole pitch. We're pitching Elizabeth Warren because she's closest ideologically to Bernie, and Bernie can beat Trump, but she's younger. That's what they're saying. But that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like she can't handle herself. And boom, like I said, I'm not confident in Elizabeth Warren at all, in the slightest. And I think most of you all would agree with me. Speaking of losers, I feel like Elizabeth Warren, who spoke for 22 minutes, by the way, at least before if we're not including the closing remarks, she spoke for 22 minutes. Elizabeth Warren got dismantled. She looked nervous. She looked jumpy. Whenever Joe Biden told her, I helped you get those votes, you all recall, she started like doing this in her response. I'm very thankful for Obama. Like, she was signaling to people to calm down. Like, nobody was tripping. Girl, you're the only one tripping. Relax. But she starts doing this. When you start doing this, that's not presidential. It makes me feel uncomfortable because it makes you seem unsure of yourself, or it makes you seem like you're looking for my approval. When I'm like, I mean, yeah, you want my approval, but you kind of want it to be a natural thing. Like, oh, okay, I believe in what they're saying. Not, oh my God, if I don't like nod and smile, she's going to make this more awkward for me. And that's how I felt about Elizabeth Warren's performance. Like, she's demanding that you love her, not on the merits of her policies or her plans, but like because she wants to be loved, because she knows it's the path to victory. Not because, like, when Bernie, if he never has to ask for a clap, that's for damn sure, but he's not going to ask you to cheer. He doesn't even gesture like he's trying to cheer, like get your attention or anything like that. Tulsi doesn't gesture like he's trying to get your attention, like pay attention to me. I mean, they raise their hands, of course, to speak, but you know what I mean. Even Yang is, when he has the mic, he's on fire. Last two debates, at least. And when he doesn't have it, he looks calm and collect. He plays his game. He stays in his wheelhouse. Warren doesn't really have a wheelhouse. And the more these debates progress, the more I feel like this will get exposed. Buttigieg, 5-6% still, probably. Same place he was last week, the same place he was last month, the same place he was in the beginning of the year. Pete Buttigieg is just not an exciting person, although he did land a few jabs on Warren from a centrist angle. It's not very good. So he didn't win over any progressives. He might have won over some Warren people, though. Or at the very bare minimum, maybe perhaps some Biden people. Definitely no Yang people, who has a more of a portion of that voter block of the Democrats than I think people are giving him credit for. He definitely didn't pull over any Tulsi people who may support her because she's a vet. I feel like she schooled him, and we're gonna get into that too. Buttigieg got just dismantled by Tulsi, and I can't stress enough how bad that was, and we'll get into that too. So he looks strong in some aspects, lying through his teeth. Don't get it twisted, lying through his whole gap. However, he did look weak incredibly in others, and more importantly, he looked weak in the aspect of the debate that he was supposed to shine in, which is foreign policy. Yang, I try to judge who won the debate based off of what their campaign needed that night and who maximized their potential within the context of their campaign. Who, and once again, that was Andrew Yang. That was Andrew Yang. That's 2 debates straight. I felt that way. The reason why is because he's even gotten to the point where he doesn't have to say UBI anymore. He starts actually building up the narrative, helping you understand the root. And then he'll, leave it there. Lets it simmer. Doesn't say da-da-da-da-da UBI, da-da-da-da-da UBI. Then he'll say, look at this problem. Another problem that's solved by or another problem caused by automation. Another problem caused with not addressing the anxiety and the depression in this country that comes from not feeling fulfilled or seeing yourself as a valued American. Then he just, boom. By the way, I also have a plan called UBI. His marketing is goddamn genius. If you pretend like it's not, you're a fucking hater and you get over yourself. It was genius. It was. And I'm pretty sure I'm good at judging whether or not something Yang does is going to work or not, because I was the one who said everybody is laughing at Yang. I said it the night of the debate. Who was with me and who watched my video where I said, okay, everybody is laughing at Yang for his quote unquote publicity stunt, but I got a bunch of people on my phone right now laughing like, man, that was so stupid, but I'm really about to give his campaign my information though, for real, because I need that money. I need that $1,000 a month. He raised $10 million in the third quarter. So if you raise $10 million in the third quarter, how was your publicity stunt not successful? It was a publicity stunt and you landed dab. So his impeachment answer, what? The best answer on impeachment, hands down, by far. Tulsi had the second best. Bernie had the third best. Bernie's, so we'll start from the bottom with impeachment. Bernie was decent, but I don't like the hyperbole and all that nonsense. He's the worst president, the most corrupt president. No, he's not the most corrupt president. I know it sucks to believe it's not the most corrupt president. He's not even the most racist president. Okay? And that needs to be understood. He isn't, I mean, you have presidents who wouldn't even be seen in the room with a black person by themselves. So let's be clear about that. Okay? Like, he's not the most racist president. He probably fit right along the lines of the rest of them, except for maybe 3. He might be a little bit more vocal about it, but Lyndon B. Johnson wasn't all that shy either, and neither was Harry Truman. After that, however, when he said that, look, it needs to be quick, and it needs to be done through the emolument clause, he got a thumbs up and a thumbs down from me simultaneously. Because he's framing it in a sense that, hey, if we're going after the corruption of his finances, quid pro quo behavior, direct violation of the Constitution, where we can point to in writing, this is what is clearly being violated, then absolutely, I'm all for it. He's corrupt. That makes sense. Now, here's a problem with that. That's why he got a simultaneous thumbs up and thumbs down. Because I can't argue on the merits of an emolument impeachment. I can argue against it strategically, but I can't make any legal argument against it. I can't make any legislative argument against that. Let me drink some of my water. So because I can't make it, I can't, like, the monument clause, there's a 100% chance that Trump has violated it. But here's the problem. Bernie, the reason you got a thumbs down while simultaneously getting a thumbs up, because you know damn well this impeachment ain't got nothing to do with the monuments clause. That's why. You ain't got it's nothing to do with the monument clause. You knew it ain't had nothing to do with the monument clause, and yet you said that anyway because you can't get put on tape later saying it's about a Ukraine or a Russia gate. Politically, it was smart as hell. Because when people come back, he said, oh, you can go look at my debate tapes. I was very, very clear. I said to impeach him under the emolument clause for quid pro quo behavior. I didn't say anything about the Mueller report. I didn't say anything about the transcripts. I said the emolument clause for quid pro quo behavior. That's what you can look at the tapes. And guess what? It's going to be a political check on the because that's it. So he doesn't upset the neoliberals by saying I'm against impeachment. He doesn't upset I won't say he didn't please us, but he appeased us by saying, but it's not because of that other nonsense. It's because of the emolument clause. Something we can actually get him on. I'm like, I mean, if you're going to make the argument, making that argument, funny enough, isn't a divisive one. But here's why I put Tulsi second best answer on impeachment. Tulsi had the second best answer on impeachment, mostly because I'm a stubborn asshole when it comes to certain things, and I don't think she should have been for impeachment at all anyway. However, the reason she's second is because leading up to, I'm okay with the inquiry, she gave every reason as to why this impeachment was bullshit. She was like, she said, we've been trying to impeach him since he first got elected. That's like, we've been talking about this. It's divisive. It's partisan politics. We got to make this, swift and We need a fact find, but we don't need partisan games. But that's what it looks like. She starts going down a list of reasons. It's clearly a partisan maneuver. It's clearly a maneuver to fulfill a political agenda. And then she's like, I guess, we got this new information. So if we're going to do an inquiry, I'm all about an inquiry, just for transparency's sake. So that part is what made her number 2. If she would have stopped at all the reasons the impeachment is bullshit, I would have made her number 1. However, Yang was number 1 with the impeachment question. Clearly, he recognized, okay, so there's the weakness that I have on this stage that I've never been in a legislative position. So how can I flip this? Art of War. How can I flip this and make it my strength regarding certain issues? Hold on. I don't have to take a stance on impeachment because I don't have to vote. I don't have to vote. I ain't got to vote right now or later. I don't ever have to vote. And the only time I would have anything to do with that is if I was a president, because I would be the one being considered to be impeached, and I'm not going to get impeached. So in Yang's mind, he's like, I can just say how we need to be focused on America's issues. And you politicians are playing too much politics. That's exactly what he did. It was extremely strategic. It was genius. And his answer on the fact that this impeachment is partisan, it is distracting people from the kitchen table issues. It's distracting people from or distracting politicians from doing their damn job. And Tom Perez keeps hitting us with that bullshit. Walk and chew gum. We can walk and chew gum. Shut the fuck up, Tom Perez. No, you cannot. You can't walk and chew shit, bro. You can't even run a DNC correctly. Talking about walk and chew gum. But Yang did a fantastic job on that impeachment question, and his publicity stunt at the end, once again, will yield dollar signs. He's a charismatic dude. His foreign policy is trash. Got better on Israel-Palestine. Needs to get a little bit better, though. But right now, Israel and Palestine, he's on par with Tulsi. Well, not on par with Tulsi. Tulsi is just way too good at calling out Bibi. I can't put him up there yet. He hasn't called out Bibi Netanyahu by name. But he's up there with Bernie as far as Israel-Palestine is concerned. And that was an evolution for him because he got shredded from comments he made in January, February, and then to now he's evolved on it. So I got to give him credit. I've had a lot of the Yang gang correct me on that, so I want to give him, his fair due. Now, also, his Russia thing was kind of weird. I don't even know how I felt. I was pissed because like he was still kind of Russiagating, but I feel like he was only Russiagating to play like a devil's advocate scenario. At least that's how it appealed to me. I hate the Russiagate dog whistle, but I'm also like, I'm not naive to how the electoral politics works. And he put he put everybody in this weird position where he's like, fine, like we got to address the problems, like the real problems, and fine. If Russia did something, we could be like, look, man, yeah, y'all did it. We did it too. We're guilty of meddling in other elections as well. We both have to cut it out. I think that's a fair conversation to have with Russia, and we need to have. I'm like, bruh, that was genius. And then for him to go on at next and say, and that's why we need to strengthen our cybersecurity. We need to strengthen our elections. Like, it was very Tulsi-esque. That's one of the reasons I love Tulsi's answer on Russiagate. It's like, okay, I said I was okay with the investigation. For transparency's sake, we completed the investigation. Can we move on? I don't have to love when she's addressing the Russia scare, if you will. I don't have to love Putin or hate Putin to know that nuclear holocaust means that we're all dead. So we can talk to him or we can all die. Like, those are the two options. We need to de-escalate. Or when she says, when we're talking about election integrity. Okay, cool. So y'all believe Russia hacked the election. So we can keep talking about that, or we can make sure it never happens again. Here's my Securing America's Elections Act. You have to kind of flip the script on these people a lot of the time by using their own talking points against them. And Yang did that successfully for most of the debate, and he brought it back to the people, and he finished off with a bang. And last time I saw him do all three of those things on a debate stage, even if he didn't get that much talk time, he brought in $10 million in the third quarter. Can't pretend like that's not a big deal. Can't pretend like it's silly or it's unimportant. I know some people don't want to believe Yang is a real threat, but Yang is an outsider. He's an outside threat. He is absolutely not fringe. He's not a fringe candidate. And I don't know why people keep saying UBI. I guess you could say Yang. I guess people can say Yang's UBI is a libertarian concept. It's weird. If maybe you consider him, I consider him libertarian maybe on other domestic policies, but saying that Yang's UBI is libertarian is fucking. It's kind of disgusting. It's kind of disgusting as a progressive to hear that now all of a sudden, once again, you can have a problem with the implementation. We can hash that out. We can debate the best way to do that. But even the concept of a value-added tax, by the way, is like a Scandinavian one, a democratic socialist type of thing. That's how they keep their economy. It's not, their economies are great, but they alleviate a lot of problems with the VAT tax because they have to deal with corporations too, and they have to deal with a plethora of other issues. So that's a real Scandinavian, Western European concept. So even saying that, the VAT tax is the aspect that makes it libertarian. UBI is not libertarian. You could say Yang might be, but UBI is not. And I don't know how Yang's libertarian because he's not libertarian on foreign policy. Nowhere near to the degree he should be to be considered a libertarian by anybody else's definition. I think that the best thing to call him would be a libertarian socialist, because understand UBI is quite literally redistributing the wealth out of the pockets of the corporatists, the bourgeoisie, and putting it back into the pockets of the proletariat. Increasing their ability to seize the means of production, or at least control or have greater influence over the means of production. So we want to get philosophical, we can get fucking philosophical, bitch. But it's just not fair to call UBI a progressive, or excuse me, a libertarian policy when it is fucking not. It is not. Even if you want to call Yang libertarian, which is still kind of up in the air by the definition of what I know to be a libertarian, by the way. He's a capitalist, 100%. 100%. Yang is a capitalist through and through and through. Even his UBI, like, he's thinking about it from a capitalist angle. So that is I can't argue with that. But stop just throwing labels out that you believe can be insulting because Yang is pushing a progressive policy and he's running against your favorite candidate. I don't care if you're a Tulsi supporter or a Bernie supporter. Just because they're progressive and they consider themselves to be, well, Bernie considers themselves a Democratic Socialist, Tulsi doesn't like labels. It doesn't mean you get to call Yang or UBI a libertarian concept when UBI has always been a leftist policy. It's always been a very leftist policy, and libertarians, once upon a time, before Yang probably, would have laughed, and they did in fact laugh at the idea of a UBI. Hold on, I see something. No, there is no separate source of tax for UBI. Last time I checked, workers paid more in federal tax. There is a separate tax for UBI. It's called the VAT tax, value added tax, which is a whole different thing we can get into later. But it's a separate fundraising. It's a separate funding mechanism that would ensure that no one could avoid paying their fair share in taxes to fund that particular program. So, like I said, it's people can debate all day. I just have been seeing a lot of slander, not critiques, but slander thrown at different candidates, but they're kind of cloaking them in this political rhetoric that's seemingly well-meaning and it's argument seemingly being made in good faith, but it really isn't. Like, a lot of these arguments aren't being made in good faith. You're mad because somebody's a threat to your candidate. Now, I'm weird. I don't consider only threat I consider Tulsi is Bernie. As far as a threat, like, who do I believe on a fair day, or in the hood, what we call, who do I believe when throwing the fair ones, in other words, a one-on-one fight, could beat Tulsi in a fair fight? It's only Bernie. If they ever had a chance to be on equal footing, it would be toe-to-toe, literally into the last state, which I would love to see. That would be, whoo, man, you want to talk about a progressive, like, daydream? Oh, man. Only if we can get Jeremy Corbyn just, running the table in the UK at the same time. Oh, man. Progressive daydream, I'm telling you. That would be amazing. But that's the only person I feel, quote unquote, Tulsi is threatened by. Everybody, like, I don't have to lie about Yang to talk about what I dislike about him. I don't have to lie about Warren to talk about what I dislike about her. I don't have to lie about Kamala. I don't have to lie about Biden. If your candidate's great, then your candidate's great. But, for example, when you have a Bernie support, like, Yang people don't feel threatened by Tulsi, and they have more of a reason to feel threatened by Tulsi. Tulsi is has more of a direct impact on Yang than, because of they both appeal to open primary state voters. They both appeal to the Rust Belt. They both appeal to libertarian and conservatives. They both are about unity. They both are about, moving forward together. Like, they both agree with UBI. And some would even argue that if Yang was pressed, he would probably, if Tulsi sat him down, he would probably agree with Tulsi on a lot of foreign policy if he had that opportunity. So Yang and Tulsi supporters have the most reason to feel threatened by each other, but they're not for the most part. They don't attack each other. But I see Tulsi smeared by the same people I see smearing Yang. Not critiques. I know the difference. But smears. And that got to stop. Yo, real quick. Beto was trash. He was trash. Utter garbage. But real quick, when they were talking about Biden's corruption, I got to go back and find this video. When they were talking about Biden's corruption and they were trying to switch the subject, didn't Beto try and chime in? Was that Beto's voice I heard on the stage? And then when Beto was like, no, we can't switch subjects on this. We can't change that. Because it was specifically regarding Biden. CNN was caping for Biden hard. And Beto jumped in, was like, no, we can't switch subjects. No, we can't ignore this. No. And I don't know if y'all heard, but you couldn't hear him in the microphone And he was like, I'm just saying, I want to go on record saying I do not, it's wrong for us to move away from this topic right now. Did y'all hear that? But the thing was, you heard it through the other microphones. You didn't hear it through Beto's mic, which means they cut off his mic. Damn, the one good thing Beto's done this entire election, they cut off his mic. Because Beto was trying to make his mark. If we're gonna be honest, like, he doesn't really care about the corruption. If we're being real, you and I both know this. However, it serves our purposes to acknowledge this because, I mean, if it wasn't obvious, they were protecting Joe Biden by lying. Yeah, it's already been debunked. Everything Trump has said about you and your son has been thoroughly debunked. It was all lies, and we're going to go ahead and correct the record for Joe Biden. Tulsi, you got to defend your record. Bernie, you have to defend yourself. Yang, you have to defend yourself from even Marion Williamson. You got to defend yourself. But Biden, don't worry about it. We'll defend you, you great and worthy knight of the Democratic Party who has been so complicit in our corruption. We truly appreciate it. One love. Everything Trump has said is a lie. That was the setup of the question. Then, after Biden said some weird shit that I couldn't. It wasn't really like comprehend. Listen, it's Biden. After that shit, Beto tried to jump in and didn't go well. But it did expose something. I'm gonna do a separate video on that too, because it's super important in my humble opinion. That if that's the case, that's like, I mean, I guess it's kind of par for the course for the media at this point. They did cut off Yang's mic. They cut off Tulsi's mic. I think they know better than to cut off Bernie's mic because he gonna yell. You gonna hear it anyway, dog. I think Booker was the biggest loser. Booker lost. I mean, relatively, right? Booker had nothing to lose, I guess, technically, and did not treat this debate like he had nothing to lose. He gained zero, nothing whatsoever. This man Booker's highlight of the night was telling everybody during the debate to not debate during the debate. Because if you debate during the debate, then you might expose that someone else isn't as good as you as far as their ability to beat Donald Trump and win the election. Even though the point of debating during the debate is to figure out who in that debate is not as good as you to go forward and then beat the Republican candidate. Cory Booker is a fucking moron. He rehearsed that shit so much. He did not stop to think one time, hey, maybe this ain't the time to say this statement. Maybe I should not say that right now and say it later, because this doesn't really, like, guys, I've seen how this plays out before. I've seen how this ends. It ends with one candidate standing above the rest of the candidates, winning people over, defeating the other candidates, winning the primary election, and going into the general. I've seen how this ends, and that's not the outcome I want. I want all of us to go to the general. I want all of us to defeat Donald Trump. Booker, bro, oh my God, yo. I thought that we were going to get through a whole debate without hearing Booker tell us he was from the hood. I was like, it's like 10:15. Booker hasn't mentioned his old neighborhood at all. We might do it. We might get to the debate without, damn it. Well, and hey guys, and me and my homie, Young Baby Slice, we were in this high-rise projects, I don't talk about it too often because, I'm a humble guy. I'm a humble guy from humble beginning. I don't talk about my high-rise projects in the hood that I lived in all the time. I don't talk about it like that, so y'all might not know. But yeah, we used to talk about, and the fucked up part was, I think that answer was completely and totally out of the context of the question. It's like this motherfucker was... He didn't listen to anything that was said when the question was... He just was like, I'm going to mention I'm in the hood. Whether or not it has anything to do with this debate, I don't give a damn. I've not been consistent on any aspect of my political life in my entire career. I'm sticking to my laurels on this one. I'm from the hood. Respect my gangster. And unite, everybody. Last thing on the complete roundup. Bruh. Kamala? What the hell happened to her? What happened? Y'all not like... I'm like kind of worried about her at this point. Did anybody else feel that way? Like... And this is not a joke. I don't take drug addiction and alcoholism lightly. I really do not. But she seemed like she was on anti-anxiety medication, maybe Xanax, something to that extent. Even potentially, Percocet will put her to sleep. Probably Xanax though. And the reason I say that is because I noticed there was something different in her voice first. She didn't sound like the Wicked Witch of the West Coast, like she normally does. She didn't do that high pitch thing that she does. You know what I'm talking about. When she gets defensive and she says, well, let's get one thing perfectly clear. You know what I'm talking about. She didn't do that this time. And so that's what initially come like, oh, what is she doing different this time? Why? And then I kind of see her and she would, and you know that, and she was speaking real slow, speaking real low. Even when she wanted to get hype, she couldn't get hype. It seemed like she wanted to turn up, and her body language was kind of getting loud, but Kamala herself wasn't actually getting loud. And I don't think that her brain and her mouth and her hands had a conversation before she started throwing her hands everywhere. Like there was no communication there. It was just like, so her hand was like, bro, what the fuck? Oh man, bring me back in. You told me we was gonna be yelling. I told her to yell, and the mouth was like, but brain, bro, Xanax. But Xanax. So that's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. As far as her, the theatrics are concerned, it was not a good look. It was not a good look for her. But it also depends, I think, from your angle. Maybe if you have not seen her prior to that debate, you would have not seen anything irregular in her behavior. It would have just come off her seeming calm and commanding. Maybe that's also a thing. So just a caveat. Now, the substance of what she talked about. I'm just kidding. What the fuck? Kamala talking about substance. Nope, it was a bunch of Trump, trumpeted, Trump, trumpeted, Trump, prosecutor, Trump, prosecutor. Gaslighting. And to be quite honest with you, it was, me, I'm all for women's right to choose when it comes to abortion rights. I think that we shouldn't be making a choice whenever the baby gets in the womb. I think we should be trying to make as many intelligent choices as possible as autonomous individuals and as a government before we even get to that point. That's what I'm in the camp of. And then once the baby gets in the body, for the most part, it's her body. That's where I stand. Now, where Kamala stands is perfectly clear also, because that's literally what she talked about for, I feel like, half of the debate. It seemed like for the first half of the debate, no matter what question was asked, she responded with my body, my choice. Right? Am I crazy? Like, how many times, I get it. Like, is this where your campaign has been rendered to, Kamala? Like, you trying to stay afloat by getting a woman's vote by saying my body, my choice, which is once again something that literally every Democrat on the stage believes. Every Democrat on the stage, bruh. Every single Democrat on the stage believes in the exact same thing, or at least 95% of what you believe in on those issues. But on the laws, probably 100%. Beyond the law is just nuance, and at that point, it's what goes on in your home. I'm not getting involved in that. That's your grandmaster plan to scream, my body, my choice. What about women? And for people like those who follow this show, who have been saying, I don't know why you surprised Kamala's losing. She has Hillary's staff. I don't know why I'm a New York Knicks fan, people. We suck because our organization sucks because James Dolan's the owner. We got a new coach. Even got a new young star, Dennis Smith Jr. this year. Shout out to Dennis Smith, 2-6 and fade down. We got great young core, great coach now. Aesthetically, we're looking like a dope team, but guess what? James Dolan is still the owner of the Knicks, and we are still gonna be trash because James Dolan. In other words, if you don't change out if you keep the same apparatus, how the hell are you somehow expecting radically different results? How are you expecting radically different results? And when I say radically different results, it needs to be radical because you 99% chance of winning to no chance in hell with a 2% margin of error. You need 50-60% chance, but hopefully a little bit more than that because the establishment is going to help you out. That's not what you did. That's not the staff you hired. You hired 99% chance of winning to 2% or no chance in hell with a 2% margin of error. That was the staff you hired. And guess what? They gave you no chance in hell, 2% margin of error talking points. That's exactly what you got. Because what did Hillary start doing when she realized she was absolutely no match for Bernie Sanders when it came to policy or her command of said policies, despite the fact that she had somehow earned this title as a scholar. Like she's just a legislative genius, which I never really understood. She's one of the most unproductive senators. Hell, I think she's actually one of the most unproductive senators in New York's history. Funny enough. And so when you hire the same team, what the hell do you expect? When you hire the I'm with her team, where literally your sister, Maya Harris, was third chief advisor to Hillary Clinton's campaign, why do we expect something other than I'm every woman, it's all in me? Like, yeah. I mean, that sounds good on a Waiting to Exhale cover. Or maybe like a throwback concert that you go to with your parents for your mom's birthday. And yeah, you can always sell those tickets on tour. You always gonna be able to sing that same song on tour with the people who love that song. But you're not gonna get different results. It's not how it works. Because that song is about I'm every woman. I'm every. See, the thing is, I respect every woman. Got a lot of love for every woman. But I'm not every woman. I'm not even one of a woman. I'm a whole not woman. I'm a zero of a woman. In other words, your appeal to women and only women could inadvertently and probably has inadvertently alienated people who do not relate to that. You might have brought in a couple of people who value that, but you might have alienated people who value women, but see you as a person who is only going to take care of women because that's the only thing you may talk about. So you alienate, not because you talk about women, but because that's like the only thing you're talking about. So like in prosecuting people, women and prosecuting people. If I'm a white man who gets pulled over by cops and the cop checks my wallet and says, well, I didn't know you're Mary Smith, son. Hey, have a nice day. Heard you doing pretty well at college. I hope you keep that up. If I'm one of those white guys, I don't give it. What? I need you to know it's not that I don't care about women. It's what are you going to do for me? How are your policies going to help me? Kamala hasn't demonstrated that she has been able to
Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Also, you can help us upgrade the studio and take this show on the road to cover the on-the-ground politics that you love by clicking on that GoFundMe link in the description and donating literally anything. Anything helps. Also, you can follow us on Rockfin, on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. And hey, more than anything else, people, always remember, find your balance. Peace.